I believe in doing things with your family to come closer together. I believe activities and places are special once you have experienced them with your family. My family has gone to our shore house since we were little. At this place, my family has come to make lasting memories. My mom, dad, sisters, Carly, Maddie, and I loved going out on the bay. My family decided to go on a wave runner ride to start the day. The salty air filled my lungs, and the bay breeze controlled my hair. The sun had just begun to rise, filling the pale blue sky with a golden orange. The bay was rough, and the waves constantly hit the wave runner, splashing my legs. We were finally deep enough into the bay to step on the gas. I was riding with my dad, and Carly and Maddie were with my mom. I pressed the lever, and we were on top of the waves. I was racing with my sister for just a few seconds before I pulled out ahead. She preferred a slower pace. Water hit my sunglasses as we continued. It wasn't before long until we were right next to the island house, or so we called it. This was my favorite part of the trip. I was able to practice accelerating as fast as I could go. I sped up to 50 miles per hour, which for our old wave runners was fast. My dad and I were screaming and laughing at the thrill of gliding on top of the water. At this moment, it was clear we all shared an eagerness to be out on the wave runners. Spending the summer at my shore house also meant going to the beach. Although the beach was more crowded on the weekends, it was my favorite time to go. The weekends were when my dad would join us at the beach. If my dad was there, that meant we were able to swim out further. With the green flag raised, it was a perfect day to go in the ocean. I ran from the hot sand to the hard sand until I was surrounded by ice-cold water. Close behind me was my dad with Carly and Maddie. The weaker of the pack stayed close to my dad at all times. As a wave was coming in, my dad paddled in the opposite direction, then rode the wave all the way into the beach. Body surfing did not come easily for me. I could never seem to get the timing of catching the wave. A monster wave was coming up, and for a split second I debated riding it in. I chickened out and quickly tried to swim under the wave. I sunk into the water and immediately got jolted backwards. My body started to turn as my feet rose from the ground. I thought I would be crashing into the sand. Then someone grabbed my hand and held me strong as the wave passed. I rushed to the surface to get some air. My dad had kept me from completely wiping out, and right beside him were Carly and Maddie. I was so glad I was out with them. I knew if I ever needed it, I could count on them to have my back. Nothing could ever stop my family from getting in a good exercise, especially if the destination contained food. Pliables became an addiction for my family. We could never get enough of it. Simply going to Pliables every day was just too ordinary for us. My dad got one of his great ideas to bike to Pliables, eat our bowl, and then bike back home. From our shore house to Pliables was 4 miles. Part of our ride was on a small highway. We were in a perfectly straight line. Finally, as we got closer to our destination, we rode on the back roads. Just one light away, I almost couldn't bear it any longer. The sun poured down its heat, covering all of my body. Looking back, I saw my sisters feeling the same way. Our bikes skidded to a stop as we reached the rock walkway of Pliables. My dad helped us put all of our bikes into the bike rack. We raced inside, excited as the smell of strawberries and bananas overwhelmed the tiny store. My pop-up seemed to be the most excited out of all of us. This was his first time going to Pliables. He asked us about our favorite kind of bowls. There was a huge selection, but the acai bowls were the best. The only two anyone in my family ever got were the Power and the Nutella bowl. We finished as much as we could, and for some of us that meant the entire bowl. While this trip had taken up a good chunk of the day, I was glad we did it. I realized how creative and fun my family was when we spent time together. Even though 8 miles of biking seemed like pure torture, my family had turned it around into a new adventure. Making memories creates stronger bonds and strengthens relationships with each other. These memories become stories that will be passed on to future generations. As these stories are passed down, the activities turn into family traditions. Each tradition can be traced back to one specific moment where everyone was together. Therefore, the more time spent with your family, the more special moments are built, resulting in deeper connections with each other that will last for generations.